I'm Susan Weinschenk. I'm the CEO and founder of the Team W. And the Team W works in this interesting intersection between behavioral science and psychology and behavioral economics and design. And sometimes people ask me, how did you get into this field? What made you want to do this? Well, I was actually in graduate school. I was working on my PhD, which was in cognitive psychology, how we think, how we learn. And at that point, I really wasn't thinking that much about technology. I was much more focused on psychology. But I was at Penn State working on my PhD, and Penn State has, or had at that time, a language requirement for graduate students, but they had this interesting twist on it. You could take either a foreign language or you could take a computer language. I don't know why they did that, but that's what they did. So I decided, well, I'll take a computer language. I'll learn how to program. And this was the first time that I had tried to learn how to program. And what happened as I went through that course was I started becoming fascinated with this idea of what happens when someone who doesn't have a computer background, which I didn't, and doesn't know programming, which I didn't, what happens when they start interacting with technology. And I was very interested in the relationship between how people think and how people use technology. And I did not know at the time that this was a field, that it had a name. At that time, by the way, the term user experience wasn't around, psychology of design wasn't a thing. We called it human factors. And I discovered, there's this whole field called human factors, which is applying what we know about people to the design of technology or software. And when I found that out, I was still in graduate school, but I became really fascinated. So I finished my PhD in psychology, and I actually went and I taught college for a year. And then I decided I'm going to really delve into this thing called human factors. And I started applying what I had learned in psychology to the design of all kinds of technologies, software devices, and so on. That's how I got started in it. That's how I became fascinated in it. Now, when I was doing it, which was a while ago, it was unusual. There weren't that many people doing human factors work, psychology, behavioral science applied to design. And I decided at one point that we needed more people. And I don't think I was the only person who thought that. And so I really started focusing a lot on training and teaching and mentoring, which is what I love to do anyway. And I really wanted to take what we know about humans and how that could impact design, about what we know about vision and the brain and how people think and how people decide, and take all that and see if we can improve technology. Now, this was a while ago, so things were definitely not user-friendly back then. And in fact, the term user-friendly hadn't even been invented. And so I was kind of in on the beginning of the real explosion of this field. And we started, those of us who were in the field were training programmers and developers. And then, luckily, we started to see this growth of people who specialize in the intersection of design and humans. And it was called usability, and then it was called user experience. And that's what we focus on at the Team W. Now, we have a little bit of our own twist to it. So, my background in psychology, I'm all about what do we know about humans, about how they see and hear and think and decide, and how should that inform the designs that we do in order to design technology that works better for the business owner as well as for the users. But then there was this whole growth in the field of behavioral economics. So a couple of years ago, I brought on board to the company actually my business partner, who happens to be my son. And he has a degree in behavioral economics, and he also has a law degree. And So he started bringing in not just how people think and how people decide from an individual point of view, the things that most humans have in common, but he started to bring in the behavioral economic side to it, which is, what do we know about how people behave in context, how people make decisions not just on their own and what's going on in their brain, but what about the context, the environment, the social situation, the other people will affect their decision making. And so that's kind of the behavioral economics side. So I bring in the brain and science and psychology side. He brings in the behavioral economics side. And we think that's a really nice combination. It brings a real depth to the work that we're able to do. Now, we're a small company. I'm the, I guess you could say, majority owner, which means that we're a female owned company. And I know some of our clients like that. They like to be able to engage and hire a woman-owned company. We care deeply about the work that we do. We love to spread the information we have about these two fields, the psychology and behavioral economics. And one of our favorite things to do is we read a lot of research papers, try and keep up on the research in this entire behavioral science field, and especially looking for new ideas that should and could affect the design of technology products. And so one of our favorite things to do is to read that research, interpret it, and then communicate it. So we love teaching workshops. We love teaching online courses. One of the things that I really wanted to do, I have a long background in what used to be called CBT, or computer-based training, and then became online training. And I have a real passion for actually the field of instructional design. You know, how do you create training that's interesting and engaging and also works in that people learn and the information sticks? There's a whole science to that too, and I really love working in that. So we work pretty hard to put together training that's effective, and whether that's an in-person workshop that we're giving that we make interactive and a lot of fun, or whether that's our online training that we do, we experiment a lot and make sure that our training is as effective as we can make it. And we really enjoy making that training available. So we'd like to do the in-person workshops, but not everybody can bring us in for an in-person workshop or can, be at a specific location. These days, people are all over the world that want to learn about behavioral science and design, and they may not have, thousands and thousands of dollars either. So it's been important to us to see if we can put together online training curriculums that are reasonably priced and that people can take from anywhere. And that's an important thing that we do, I think. I really, I just have a passion for this work, and I think it's so important for us to design stuff that is really usable and people can really use. And so anything that we can do to help people understand behavioral science and how it applies to design and help people learn about that, that's kind of what we're all about. So we do consulting and training and mentoring, and we have a podcast. All those things together, we hope, and the books that we write, we hope that helps other people to understand this field, behavioral science applied to design. We just like what we do so much that we like sharing it with other people. If there's any way that we can help you in your own learning, or if you want to get the word out to others as well, let us know, and we'd love to help out.